19th, 2017. Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee McGreal?
Here.
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Pierce?
Here.
Trustee Zielinski?
Here.
Trustee Juarez?
Here.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we'll start with officers' reports, starting with myself. On your agendas, number one was the resolution commemorating Moraine Valley Community College's 50th anniversary. Moraine Valley reached out to us recently to remind us that Moraine Valley Community College is reaching a milestone, 50 years, providing exemplary education to residents and businesses from 26 communities. And they asked that we would appreciate if our board would obviously help them celebrate by adopting a resolution that I'll read into the record. They wanted to note on here that they want to continue to be grateful for the foresight of community members who in 1965 initiated efforts to establish a community college in our area and look forward to their continued partnership with the Village of Alsip. So what we had was, this is a resolution commemorating Moraine Valley Community College's 50th anniversary, whereas founded by a voters' referendum in 1967, Moraine Valley Community College District 524 is one of the largest public community college districts in Illinois, covering 139 square miles and annually serving more than 34,000 credit and non-credit students hailing from 26 demographically diverse communities in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. Moraine Valley Community College is one of more than 48 community colleges in the state of Illinois operating under the direction of the Illinois Community College Board with accreditation from the Higher Learning Commission. And over the last 5 decades, Moraine Valley Community College has been committed to student success by educating the whole person in learning-centered environment, recognizing our responsibilities to one another, to our community, and to the world we share. And the college is committed to continuous improvement while providing accessible, affordable, and diverse learning opportunities and environments. Moraine Valley has conferred more than 63,000 degrees and certificates since its opening and serves 1 in every 37 students of its district, including approximately 19% of the adult population in Alsip over the past 5 years. 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of this important academic institution, and with events and celebrations throughout 2017, as detailed on their website at morainevalley.edu/rocksolid. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Mayor John D. Ryan and the Village Board of Trustees of Alsip, County of Cook, State of Illinois, for and on behalf of its citizens, that we congratulate Moraine Valley Community College upon its 50th anniversary and encourage all members of public to join the college at its scheduled celebratory events. Be it further resolved that this resolution be made of record in the permanent proceedings of the council and suitable copy hereof presented to Moraine Valley Community College. Again, we congratulate them on their achievement of 50 years. We actually did have a representative of our fire department with us this evening, too, and Andy Huffnagel's with us. Andy, you're a teacher there, right, Andy, is what you're doing right now, too?
I run the
Fire science? Okay. Thanks for being with us, Andy, and I'll sign the certificate at the end of the meeting. I'll give that to you then, too. Okay? Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, I had the approval to appoint the Honorable Arthur L. Genera, Jr. He's a retired judge as the Village of Alsip PSEBA hearing officer. And for the public, a PSEBA is basically, it's a hearing officer that helps the village determine retirement benefits for let's say if you have an employee that files for disability insurance due to a catastrophic injury, correct? Okay. Next, we had the approval to appoint Jim Smith as a part-time building inspector. And the last item on here I have was the presentation of a proclamation regarding Diaper Need Awareness Week. This is during the week of September 25th through October 1st. I did review this organization. It's a good organization that helps. And I did have a note here just shortly to explain that last year diaper banks in the National Diaper Bank Network secured similar proclamations from its governors and state legislators in 34 states, as well as from mayors and county officials in 119 cities throughout the country. This organization that reached out to me is known as SWADL, which stands for Southwest Area Diaper Depository for Little Ends. I know, it's cute. And actually, I tell you, I was with some trustees from Oak Lawn and Crestwood yesterday. They're like, did you check this one out? I'm like, yes, I did. This is a legit organization and stuff. It's a good organization. The chairman wrote to me and said that the board of directors at SWADL were writing to request that we proclaim this particular week, September 25th to the October 1st, and is Diaper Need Awareness Week, and take part in a growing national movement now in its 6th year. This proclamation will be used in conjunction with other states and local governments around the United States to inform our community that there are families who cannot afford diapers for their children, and diaper banks across the country that are helping families obtain diapers that they need. I know that's an expensive product, so I'll read this into the record as well. Diaper need, the condition for not having a sufficient supply of clean diapers to ensure that infants and toddlers are clean, healthy, and dry, can adversely affect the health and welfare of infants, toddlers, and their families. The national surveys report that 1 in 3 mothers experiencing diaper need at some time while their children are less than 3 years of age, and 48% of families delay changing a diaper to extend their supply. The average infant or toddler requires an average of at least 50 diaper changes per week over the 3 years. And there are no government assistance programs for the purchase or provisions of diapers, and a monthly supply of diapers can cost as much as 6% of a full-time minimum worker's wage salary. Therefore, obtaining sufficient supply of diapers can cause economic hardship to some families. And a supply of diapers is generally an eligibility requirement for an infant and toddlers to participate in child care programs and quality early education programs. The people of Alsip recognize that addressing diaper need can lead to economic opportunity for the state's low-income families and can lead to improved health for families and their communities. And Alsip is proud to be home to various community organizations that recognize the importance of diapers in helping provide economic stability for families and to distribute diapers to poor families throughout various channels. Therefore, I, John D. Ryan, Mayor of the Village of Alsip, do hereby proclaim the week of September 25th through October 1st is Diaper Need Awareness Week in the Village of Alsip, and encourage citizens of Alsip to donate generously to diaper banks, diaper drives, and those organizations that distribute diapers to families in need to help alleviate diaper need in Alsip and communities around. So thank you for recognizing that, Board. Also, I wanted to read something into the record here, too, as well. I'd like to thank the residents of Alsip for such a successful village-wide garage sale this past weekend. We had over 120 residents that participated. Also, I wanted to thank Tiffany, Elisa, and Becky and Vi in our front clerk's office for taking down the residents' information when they stopped at the Village Hall to register. Also, thank Roger Early for putting up and taking down the signs to help promote this community event. I'd also like to thank Chris at South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association for helping to create the map that Brian Massari put on our village website and so forth. The Park District and Library for having stacks of lists and maps available at their locations. So I want to thank everybody that helped out with that. It would not have been such a success without everyone's help, and certainly we greatly appreciate that. And obviously, I hope everybody made some money at their houses and what they were selling. I know there was some stuff for free across the street from my house and stuff. So, Board, I wanted to bring something to your attention as well too. I spoke with one of our attorneys, say Joe Kankar, last week. Dan Triben and I met with Target Media, and this is the organization. Back in like 2012, we had discussion about putting up a billboard next to our water tower near the expressway. Well, they just now got the approval to get that done from the tollway. This is almost 4 or 5 years it took, Dan, right, to get the approval on this? What I wanted to ask the board, and get your opinion before we do anything with this, is what I noticed, and the attorney noticed as well, too, that the agreement that we had was 5 years outdated. So before we incur any expense, Dan, and I kind of mentioned this that day too, does the board want legal to renegotiate the agreement that we had with them on the rental, I should say just the provision of rental that we had on that sign, or do we want to move forward with what we have and not incur a legal fee? I wanted to get a consensus which way we want to go with that.
Has that been passed out to the board?
Pardon me?
Is the
No, I haven't passed out because I didn't know which direction we were going to go with it yet. So, I mean, I've got a contract. I'll certainly make copies for everybody. We just got this just a few days ago. So, just want to know if, again, this is a contract that's 5 years outdated. Do we want to spend the money on legal to renegotiate this and go through it, or do you want to just stick with what was here? We did have, the previous board did agree to this back in, this was actually, this lease agreement was dated the 15th day of October 2014, and previous Mayor Kitching had signed off on this too with the board's approval at that time. However, it took so long to get this expedited. That's why I'm asking the board tonight if you want to pursue this and have this looked at again.
It'd be good to see that.
Yeah, I don't even know what it.
What they're proposing is, we've got a water tower, and we're going to put up a billboard, kind of like in the shape of a V, that would kind of wrap either, it stands on by itself, it's going to be on a pole, but it stands on itself to kind of wrap our water tower off the expressway. So you're seeing it from two directions as you come up, and there won't, no LED or anything like that. This is just indirect lighting that will come up to light up the billboard. So we're not affecting homes or anything like that. There's actually deflectors on there, so you're not lighting up homes or anything like that then too. It's just off signage.
Are we going to be getting revenue from this, or?
We do. Yeah, it's approximately $12,000 a year. You're getting about $1,000 a month off this.
Some of these things would be more pertinent for us to understand before
Yeah,
we go.
well, that's what I'm saying. The previous board approved it, but like I said, it took this long to get the approval for.
From the state of Illinois.
It was the tollway, right. So that's what I'm asking is, basically you're talking $1,000 a month in revenue that comes off of this. Do we want to push that envelope, or do we want to stay with the agreement that we've got here?
What's the agreement we
It
have?
might be helpful if we saw the agreement, because I don't think most of us have seen it.
Okay, well then we'll
I mean, I would like to see it. 'Cause
then we'll get
otherwise I don't
copies to
know what to
everybody,
say.
and everybody can look at it, and then
was there cost indexing on that for each year, or is it just
No.
flat rate and it stayed that way?
it was just it was like $100 if they didn't get it up, and in other words, that's all they would owe us for the duration they didn't get it done. It's that type of a contract, and certainly nobody ever gives you a margin of when a deal like this will get done. There's no telling, but unfortunately, it took that long to get an approval from the tollway. So I mean, all we'd benefit is $100 at this point, but again, based on the revenue that we got, from this, and the increments are small. I mean, the increments coming off here, let's say in the first 1 to 5 years is stays at $12,000, so it's $1,000 a month. In years, it's a 20-year agreement. In years 6 through 10, it goes up by $500 for the whole year, and then years 11 through 15, you're going to pick up another $500 over the course of the whole year. And if you go through the whole 20 years, you're at 13,500 and you started at 12. So, I mean, these are smaller increments, but is it worth our time to spend the money on legal? And that's my question to the board, to get a consensus.
What fund does this money go to then?
This will go in our general fund. I don't think this is water, is it, Dan?
I don't know what the previous board negotiated.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be general fund.
That would be my guess. Kent, any inkling on that? Okay. But that's the overall specifics of it, is you're taking this from $12,000 for the whole year. After 5 years, it goes to $12,500. You know, in year 11, you go to $13,000, and then year 16, you're going to $13,500. So it's not a giant jump, but do we want to spend what could be, you know, a couple $1,000s just, you know, negotiating this and so forth?
Well, you're talking $250,000 over 20 years, so, yeah, probably. I mean, how much is legal? Legal's just going to review the contract, correct?
Review the contract, possibly renegotiate it, yes. They've already reviewed it, but he's saying, would you like me to renegotiate it? That's up to us, only because it's 5 years outdated. That's where I started.
So if we renegotiate it, it's going to take them another 3 to 4 years?
Oh, no. I mean, I'd like to think it took a month, you know, they get something like that done, you know, so. And the company, Target Billboards, they want to move on this, Dan, pretty much right away. They're already clearing the fence area and everything else because they have an agreement with us, but, right, so.
Can it be renegotiated if it's already been approved and signed?
I believe it's within our rights. That's why the attorney brought to my attention.
What are you renegotiating for?
Signed on the
money,
dotted
more
line, we
revenue?
signed.
What was that?
We signed on.
That we signed it 5 years ago, right.
I say just go with that.
Me too. Just go with what we got.
Take the agreement that we have.
But I'd like to see a copy of it, too.
Yeah, no, I'll get everyone a copy of it. How does this side of the room feel? Take the agreement that we have?
Yeah, I think that a deal's a deal.
I kind of said the same thing with Danny the other day. I mean, it was marginal as far as the increase was, but again, do you spend a few $1,000s to renegotiate something and, you know, yeah, we're going to pick it up over some years, but is it worth our while with the budget constraints that we have to redo this and so forth? So, because it's not a giant jump in cost. And we don't even know how far this could go. Like Trustee Dalzell said, we have an agreement now, but the attorney said there might be opportunity for more. He just wanted to bring that to our attention.
Right.
All right, I'll let him know then we're going to stay with the deal, and I'll certainly get everyone a copy of what was approved back then, too, okay? Very good. Moving along. Clerk Petzel, your report?
Item 3 under your report, Mayor.
I already said it. Approval to appoint Jim Smith?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Okay. Approval to appoint Jim Smith as part-time plumbing inspector, I'm sorry.
Okay. Under my report, I have the presentation of the minutes from the July 10th Village Board meeting. I also have the presentation of the minutes of the July 5th committee meeting. And then we have the acceptance of the FOIA report for August 2017. There were a total of 28. And then I have 2 other items. The first is request approval to hire 1 full-time deputy clerk position to be posted internally for 5 business days. And the second, item 5, is request approval to hire 1 full-time office supervisor position to be posted internally for 5 business days. I had asked Kathy Franson, and she had emailed out the 2 job descriptions to all the trustees last week on Thursday. The only question or feedback I received was from Trustee McLaughlin, and she had asked for clarification. It is a request for one or the other of these positions. Didn't know if you've had a chance to review the job descriptions, if you had any additional questions, or if we can get direction one way or the other.
Aren't we actually down these positions, though? I thought we're down one deputy clerk, and the office supervisor, we had one in clerks as well as building water.
The clerk's office had 3 full-time deputy collectors and 2 part-time deputy collectors. When Maria left, we are down to 2 full-time deputy collectors and 2 part-time deputy collectors. We posted for 1 full-time deputy collector to bring it back up to 3 full-time deputy collectors. The tasks that Maria had been handling were more aligned with a deputy clerk position, and in executive session over the summer, we had discussed raising her to a deputy clerk. However, she resigned before that was capable. We also previously in executive session had discussed the office supervisor position as an alternate.
Has the deputy clerk's position been filled?
The deputy collector position will be filled shortly. But there are tasks that Maria had performed that are on the deputy clerk job description or incorporated into the office supervisor position, such as FOIAs, meeting agendas, board packets, etc. Currently, I am fulfilling the requirements of processing the FOIA requests as they come in. Vi in the clerk's office has stepped up and is handling the agenda and the packet preparation, as well as trying to slog through the minutes, getting those up to date, but that is strictly on a temporary basis.
Because personally, I favor the office supervisor position. That helps us bring all of the office personnel, under one umbrella, and hopefully creates a little more cohesiveness.
I agree.
Do you have a preference, Clerk Pencil?
I think the office supervisor is the best bang for the buck, to be honest with you. I think it's...
That's what I think most of us agreed to.
I mean, the clerks, the deputy collectors right now are collecting water bills and permit fees and sending people back and forth between the 2 windows
Yes,
to handle
I did
some
that
of that.
today. No.
So I think streamlining the procedures would benefit both sides of the building.
As before, I favor that also.
Trustee Zelinski? Lean in either way?
I'd rather have the deputy clerk position filled.
May I ask why?
I really don't think an office supervisor in one position or the other is going to avoid people going from one place to another to pay one bill or the other.
It's more...
Unless you condense all of it into one office, it's not going to happen.
That would be a...
But that's not what we're doing. We're just hiring a position.
To condense the personnel into one side would be a goal that we would like to move towards.
To cross-train?
And cross-train, yes. We have, I know up until recently, there was only one person in the clerk's office who handled all of the banking. There is now a second person that is capable of doing that. I want to further train a third, because you never know when somebody's going to call in sick or have vacation days, et cetera. We need the coverage. And there are only, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the building and the water side, there's basically only one water.
There's 2 water per building.
Okay.
Employees. Correct. How about this side of the room? How'd you feel about Trustee Juarez?
I'll go with majority,
With the,
with majority vote. Or whatever, whoever, if it's easier for the supervisor than the clerk, then the supervisor.
okay. Trustee Pierce, any preference?
I'll go with the clerk's recommendation.
Okay. Very good.
Did we ever come to a conclusion on what part of the budget this person's going to come out of?
That had not been, we had brief discussion at committee meeting last week. I assumed, wrong word probably, but I figured that most of the salary would be attributed to the clerk's office. I believe both building and water have allotted some money in their budgets. It would be a matter of reviewing the duties and assigning a portion appropriately.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
That's exactly how it happens.
Roger?
Well,
Is that your, okay.
I'll be a part of that with everyone, and we'll
I
try to
understand.
figure out exactly. Kathy Franzel and I and everyone else will try to figure out exactly how much percentage of labor on balance. It's not going to be a week by week thing.
Exactly.
In a year,
Exactly. I mean,
we
out
will
of,
allocate based on that, just like we do with some other positions that are shared.
okay. So is it the consensus then that I can request approval to hire one full-time office supervisor position to be posted internally for 5 business days?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
we've got
Yes.
that.
Yes. Okay.
So we're going to remove
So I'm going to.
number 4 from.
Correct.
Right. And did we
Which
have
will
a-
then be
on the
letter
consent
K
agenda
on the
too?
consent agenda.
Yep.
Okay, so letter K on the consent agenda will be removed.
And that is all I have, Mayor Ryan. Thank you.
Thanks. Attorney's report, we have Mike Kenkar with us this evening.
No report, sir.
Okay. Engineers report?
I have a recommendation to award the water main replacement various locations contract to the low bidder, Trine Construction Corporation, in the total amount of $1,285,550.00. I have an update on the inflow and infiltration inspection. 80% of the manholes are completed, and we anticipate on working on the exterior inspections the next couple months. We are still working on the Phase 1 engineering for 135th Street. The drainage studies have been submitted to both IDOT and county for review. We have obtained environmental clearances, and we are currently preparing the Phase 1 report. And we met last week and held the pre-construction meeting for the MFT resurfacing project. They anticipate starting the end of the month.
Okay. And, Will, can I ask you too, obviously, with your recommendation, I haven't heard of Trine Construction before. Are they a
We've worked with
good
them.
company? Yeah? Okay, very good, thanks.
They worked in town before as well.
Oh, they did, okay.
They did 123rd Street here from Sister Avenue to Home
Nice.
Avenue.
I did an inspection today with the fire department. We did a walkthrough at Mini Mills, and Haas Construction was there. Well, they just did work for us recently too, right? They're working over at Mini Mills right now too. Okay. Next, public forum. Would anyone from the audience like to address this board on anything? Mr. Sanders?
Hi, Mike Sanders, Village of Alsip Public Works, AFSCME Union, Chief Steward. Back to the clerk's report. The full-time deputy collector that you just tabled, was that one that was going to be in addition to the one that was already posted and that's going to be interviewed for?
That is the deputy clerk position that we tabled. That is not the deputy collector
Okay.
position.
Okay. And then the office supervisor position. I have some questions about this. We as the whole union have some questions about this position. This right now, as it's going to be posted, is going to start out as a office supervisor for the clerk's office?
As well as building and water.
Okay. We have 6 full-time and 2 part-time employees that are union members, that this new condensed version or pre-condensing of these 2 offices and having a new supervisor that is going to come in and do things differently than when there were 2 separate supervisors. This is going to affect their day-to-day routine and day-to-day job. I was curious a little bit as to, because we haven't been spoken to about it yet, as to how this is going to work, how this person is going to be trained. Is the supervisor going to be hired and going to be trained in order to do the job by the 2 different offices at either end of this building? And how is this new condensed supervisor over both offices, how is this going to affect day-to-day operations, especially for the people in our union? That's our biggest concern, because this is something new. It's not when I don't want to use names, but the two women, they worked here for many, many years, both headed up each side of the building. And they were very good at what they did, but this is something completely new that we're going to post internally and then possibly externally, however it's going to work. We're going to have a new supervisor, and I hear talk of trying to condense the two offices in the future to make everything run smoother, which is great, but I have yet to have heard us as the union have been approached with a game plan, even a 5-year plan down the road game plan, an initial game plan as to how this is going to work.
Well,
There's a lot of unknowns. Basically, you're posting a supervisor position that has a lot of unknowns to it yet, and I know there's been discussions in the private boardrooms back there, but there hasn't been discussions as to how this is going to affect day-to-day operations of the people that if there's an issue with something, they're going to be calling me, asking me to set up meetings or file grievances. And what I'm wondering is that why can't we have these discussions ahead of time? It seems like here's yet another thing that's getting pushed through without any discussion with us. This is something completely brand new that's going to go over 3 different departments and 2 offices, and we haven't had to talk about it.
If I may, I don't understand what's new about this, Mike. You've got,
I haven't
in
seen
previous,
the job description. I don't know what
but in
this
previous,
person-
we've had an office supervisor over building and water,
Right,
and another supervisor over the clerk's office.
right,
Now we're having a supervisor perform those very same functions
right.
that these people worked under before. The presumption is that the world is changing. I don't see how it's changing because it's just a matter of supervision and reporting. It's an organizational chart. We're not changing policies or procedures or mechanisms or anything else. And if it does come down to a consolidation of those, it's merely to make the efficiency and the effectiveness of this be better.
Right.
It's not changes, and you're expecting that it's going to be somebody from outside. We're talking about posting this right now. It may very well be one of the people who put in for it who assumes that position as supervisor. We haven't seen that yet.
Correct.
But you're assuming it's going to be from the outside, and it's going to be a world of difference.
I'm not assuming it's going to be from the outside.
That's
I'm
what you said,
figuring
sir.
It'll probably be inside. It could go outside. What I'm most concerned about is the 2 people that did the job for many years in either office were there in each office full-time every day, and their need was warranted every day. And now we're going to have somebody coming in, whether it's from internal or external, they still don't know 100% of the job. And I know this office doesn't know exactly how that office works, and that office doesn't know exactly how that office works,
Exactly.
and they're not cross-trained. So we're going to bring a supervisor in. There's going to be a lot of there just hasn't been any discussion. Again, we would like to know how this is going to work and how this is going to affect everybody.
Well, that's where, and Mr. Sanders, I appreciate you coming up to represent, too, but that's where the board has a job description for it, and they're going to stand behind whatever their decision is going to be at this point then, too. So as far as comment like that, I appreciate Trustee Dalzell's explanation for this as well then, too, but we're not putting this to a debate at this point right now. I appreciate your...
I'm not trying to put it to a debate right now.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of decisions and jobs created with titles that are going to kind of either they're a supervisor, and I know we don't have anything to say about anything with a supervisor because it's a non-union position, but it's this new position with splitting the 2 offices. And again, Sharon was there many years, Lucille was there many years, and they ran those offices 8 hours a day nonstop. Now you're going to have somebody splitting the difference. There's no talk. There's no contact. I mean, I've known that this position has been in the works. We haven't been approached about anything, how this is going to affect anything. It's a matter of relevance here, too, and I would like to see a job description of this as soon as possible. I know It's not a union position, but this is going to be something that affects union members day to day once this person is hired, whether it's internally or externally. That doesn't matter to me. I would just like to know how this person is going to come in, who's going to train them. Is it going to be the people that have been here for many years right now that's going to cross-train? Because whether the person gets promoted from this office or that office, they don't know how to work both offices.
All right, well,
There's just a lot of unknowns with it, and it's a little disheartening time to time that these job positions are created that have some sort of an effect on what goes on in the AFSCME union members' day-to-day operations in this village, and and this isn't for me. This is not my personal opinion, so don't think this is Mike Sanders' personal opinion. This comes from the union as a whole, from our members here in this village and from higher up. There's no communication with it. These jobs are being created, and there's no communication with any of it.
Very good. Thank you for your comments, Mike. Okay.
Would you please sign in?
Anyone else in the audience? Thank you very much. Standing committee reports, starting with Finance, Trustee McGlohorn.
I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated September 15th, 2017, totaling $409,464.69. I also have a request for approval of accounts payable dated September 18th, 2017. I'll read from the summary. Corporate Fund, $471,901.14. Road and Bridge, $20,059.81. 911 Fund, $4,249.96. Pulaski Corridor TIF, $46,966.13. Waterworks, $653,884.67. And Heritage 2, $17,486.87, for a grand total of all funds coming to $1,214,548.58. Next, I have a request for approval for Kent Olivan to attend a seminar, Pension Administration Certification Program, from November 12th through 14th of 2017 at a cost of $235 if paid by October 22nd, or $265 if paid after October 23rd. I have an additional request for approval for Kent Olivan to attend a seminar at the Treasurers Institute from, and this is a correction, November 14th through the 16th at a cost of $235 if paid by October 22nd, or $265 if paid after October 23rd. For both item, it's actually 3 and 4, there would also be travel expenses associated with those.
Okay.
And that's all I have under finance.
Thank you. Fire report, Trustee McGlohorn.
All right, first, give me 1 second. They're not next to each other in the board packet. I have the activity report for the fire department for the period of 8/1/2017 through 8/31 of 2017. During that time period, we had a total of 4 structure fires. We had 3 vehicle fires and 1 other fire for a total of 8 fires. We had emergency medical treatment calls totaling 211. Plus 1 all other call, for a grand total of 212 rescue calls. Additionally, we had 10 hazardous condition calls. We had 19 service calls and 21 good intent calls. And then we had a total of 32 false alarms. So total calls for the month came to 302. Also, I have an announcement in terms of a life safety award that the fire department has received. Would you like to talk about that, Chief?
We received the 2016 Life Safety Award from the National Association of State Fire Marshals. We are one of 8 departments in the state of Illinois that received it this year. This is our 3rd year in a row. We're trying to find out how many people have actually won it 3 years in a row, which is almost unheard of at this time. This is due to our public educations that we provide. Both Lieutenant Rick Krause and Firefighter Charlie Harding, they're the ones that head up the public education departments. So we do a lot of programs between the schools and the businesses, and they do an awesome job. And our firefighters do an excellent job. They actually, do the programs itself. So that's why we're able to get the award for our 3rd year in a row. So I'm proud of everybody, what they do and what we can do with our public education programs, and it definitely helps within our village.
Great job.
Nice job, Chief.
Yep, congrats. Right, and finally, you wanted to give us an update on your job search.
All right, as of Thursday, when I sent out the board packet, I only had 1 application. Now, we received 2 more today. So I'll work with Kathy to see how much longer we're going to leave it posted and when we're going to start the interview process. I haven't really had a chance to look over any of the applicants to see how relevant it is to what we're looking for yet. So just to give you an update on that.
Very good.
And that's all I have under fire.
That's it? Thank you. Next, police report, Trustee McGrill.
I have an acceptance of a list of bills and timesheets for approval. I also have a request for approval of the purchase of Sierra Wireless Airlink GX450 gateway wireless computer hookups and GPS antennas for the entire police fleet and 3 fire department vehicles. Installation will be done at Allguard. Cost is not to exceed $25,000, and 911 funds will be utilized to cover these costs. And Chief Miller, this has to do with the dispatch?
Yes, this will be part of the transformation over to Oak Lawn Dispatch. This is part of the going forward plan. So,
Actually, we should probably take that off of our agenda. It's a 100% 911 board. It's not our purview.
we voted through it 911, and the finance director recommended to come here for approval because it was more than the 3,000. So.
I know what you're saying, Trustee. It's the 911 fund. Like the chief said, I guess we were just looking for a consensus from the board that it was over $3,000 worth of expenditure. So, but that's why you put the verbiage in there for the 911 funding, correct?
Should it come off here?
Okay.
So should it come off the consent agenda if you just wanted a consensus?
I suppose Kent must have had to step out for something real quick. We'll double check when he gets back here in a second. But I believe you're correct, right? We can pull that off. It's 911 funding anyway. 911.
I'll defer to the attorney.
What would you think?
Pardon?
Well, I assume you just wanted it on there because just so the board knew what was going on. I have no idea why you want it on there, to be honest with you. Just informational only or something like that? Yeah.
Very good. Next report. Paul, go ahead.
I wasn't finished. I'm sorry, Mayor. And Chief Miller was going to give us an update on the GATSCO meeting he had.
Correct. On the 12th, Deputy Chief Schultz and I met with Jeff Shapiro of GATSO from their corporate office. We went over the problems in great detail. We told them that we wouldn't start any new projects that are on schedule until the current system is operating correctly. He was very understanding, agreed with us that there appeared to be some significant issues, particularly at 127th and Pulaski, and he would be contacting different operating departments within his company to get those problems fixed. That's where we're at right now.
Did you give him a timeline?
He has 30 days.
30 days.
What the chief's talking about, too, folks, for some that may not have followed with this, the chief noticed a deficiency in our red light camera program. They weren't performing correctly, and we had that company come in from, he came in from Massachusetts, right, Chief? Came in to speak to the chief last week, and they identified the problem. We gave them 30 days to fix the problems because they're not performing right. That's it for a police report.
So, one question. So how will you, what's the quantifiable, so would you have another camera company come out and run parallel again just to...
I did that once, didn't go over so well.
Understood.
So.
Now you've given them a remedy to fix. So now how would you quantify whether or not it's fixed?
Well, we're going to see what happens with the video quality and how many violations we're getting. Right now we got 3 or 4 people going through an intersection and we're getting 1 violation. So the other 3 people are not being caught. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on the cameras for the time being.
Okay. Thanks.
And just to remove item N then from the consent agenda.
Next, Public Works report, Trustee Juarez.
I have an acceptance of a list of bills, approval of timesheets, approval of August monthly activity report, request for approval for the removal replacement of fuel tanks on village properties at a cost of $24,565. And Public Works wants to hold a committee, we're looking to hold a committee meeting on October 2nd at 6:30. That's it.
Could you repeat that date, please, Trustee Juarez?
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat the date of the committee meeting?
October 2nd.
Thank you.
6:30.
At what time?
6:30.
Thank you.
That's a board meeting, no?
Committee.
That's the
a
first
board
Monday.
meeting. That's a board meeting, right? Okay.
That's it?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, Building Committee, Trustee Zelinski.
I have an acceptance of the list of bills and timesheets, acceptance of the August monthly report. We also have an approval for a block party of the residents of 12428 South Mansfield Avenue on Saturday, September 23rd from 12 noon to 12 midnight. Approval for a year-long raffle from the VFW Post 4450 located at 118th South Cicero Avenue from October 1, 2017 through September 31, 2018. We have a request for approval for GC America to erect an 8-foot chain link security fence and gate around the property located at 3801 West 127th Street. This is in preparation for the demolition of both of the Lombard buildings. Also have a request for approval to grant GC America to use an 8-foot by 20-foot construction office trailer to be placed on the north side of their lot adjacent to 127th Street. This trailer will remain there during the entire construction process. And that is all.
Question on the fence at first. How long is that anticipated to be there?
Until they can demolish both of the buildings, taking the hazards away, and then until they can get the project started. The trailer itself, you're looking at just about a year or under for completion.
I'm just wondering, in terms of both of those, should we give them a tentative date until, in which case if the project goes over, then they have to come back?
They were going to ask for an extension if it was going to be beyond that. But
Well, I say, because right now, neither one of these actually has an end date, which means, in theory, GC America could keep this construction trailer up indefinitely.
Is what I spoke to them.
Correct.
They would have to come before us 90 days prior to the end of the year. Of the trailer. And give us a definitive date when it would be taken off the property.
Okay, like I said, I was just thinking, because the motion is open. And as I said, I know we had an issue in the past over at the cemetery.
Definitely not going to allow it.
And again, this is to secure their property. They're going to be putting up a 150,000 square foot building, and they told us tentatively it's going to take at least a year or so to get that done. Okay.
I do have one minor correction. I believe the VFW post number is simply 450, not 4450.
Correct. Anything else, Trustee Zelinski?
No, that's all.
Okay. Water and Sewer, Trustee Dalzell.
The acceptance of a list of bills and timesheets, and also the August 2017 Water Department Activity Report, then the approval for the authorization for the RFQ for the design engineering of the Pulaski Road Corridor TIF water main. That was at $144,000 expense. Right. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, thanks. License Committee, Trustee Juarez.
I have a request for approval of a list of license dated September 15, 2017. That's it.
Thank you. Economic Development, Trustee Pierce.
Acceptance of the August activity report. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Trustee Zelinski.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Special Committee reports. We have Village Properties, Trustee McLaurin.
I have a request for approval of the updated lease agreement for the Heritage 1 and Heritage 2 senior complexes. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Next, Insurance Committee, Trustee McGrill.
I have no report tonight.
Trustee, we still need to get an Insurance Committee meeting.
We'll have it in a committee, on the committee week.
When's that?
It's not for 3 weeks, because we're not here next week, and it's in the first meeting of the month.
Okay.
October 9th.
Board, at the next committee meeting.
October 9th.
9th.
October 9th, Mayor.
October 9th. Ordinance legislation, Trustee Pierce.
Approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration by adding Article 22, Advance and Reimbursement of Expenses of the Municipal Code for the Village of Alsip, Illinois.
We went over that last week, and we made the amendment to the car rental, I believe, and that was the only change that was made to that.
The version that is in our board packet still has the $100. So I just wanted to make sure that,
I'll be sure to, you have an amended version?
No, I don't.
All
I'll
right.
make it.
I asked the clerk to amend that before it's passed.
okay, thank you.
So we'll amend that from $100 to $60 for car rental reimbursement. Next, Information Technology, Trustee Dalzell.
No report, Mayor.
Human Resources, Trustee McGreal.
No report.
Health and Pollution, Trustee Pierce.
No report, Mayor.
Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell.
Chief Miller, you want to go over the red light camera stuff again? I have no report.
I would have went for it, Jay. Next, presentations, petitions, or communications. Anything you need to share with the board?
Mayor, I just had two questions. On the insurance committee topics, is there something that we specifically are addressing at the insurance committee meeting?
We need to just, actually, what I want to bring forward, what I brought up at last week's committee meeting, that I think it's important that we go out to bid on our brokerage. We're not touching the provider, but I think it's important that we shop our brokerages. And I think we
For
need to
all
put that-
insurance?
I believe the only one we can shop, Kent, is our health insurance right now, because the other one's good till May 1st, correct? Yes.
And the second question I had is, Kent, are you going to IML also?
Okay. Well, number 9, any trustees, would you like to remove any items from the consent agenda?
I'd like to remove letter or item I and M.
I.
Anyone else?
I'd like to make a correction to S. Item S, it should be the year-long raffle from October 1st, 2017 to September 30th, 2018.
And
September
the-
31st doesn't exist.
And the post number is 450.
Yes.
Very good. Anybody else?
And have you already removed K
And N.
and N? Okay.
Yes.
Stricken. I
Stricken K.
apologize.
Mr. Alvin, we took N off. That's a 911 fund that doesn't need board approval, correct?
I would say in general, the 911 stuff shouldn't, but you as a board, even though they have control over those monies, you as a board have traditionally budgeted for it. So it's in a strange gray area where you don't really have control over it. It's the 911 board, but you budget for it. And because you also budget for 4 and fire. I'm not sure why we do that either,
Right.
which is also an independent board. Because you budget for it, if you wanted to dot your I's and cross your T's, you could do this because it's over 10,000. However, you don't really have control over these monies. It's an independent board. So it's 6 to 1, half dozen the other. Either way, you're fine.
We actually removed it. But thank you for the clarification. So letter N was removed.
Stricken.
Stricken, there you go. Very good.
Under letter J, how many hours was that going to be for?
As needed.
As needed.
That's as needed.
So
There's no telling what that, it's as needed. I believe it's $18 per inspection, $10.50 per plan review.
It could be 2 a week. It could be.
I believe last year, the part-time plumbing inspector, I believe we paid out roughly $5,500 for the entire year. So would you like to add the missing information there?
Yes. Letter C, approval of a list of payroll dated September 15th, 2017, totaling $409,464.69. Item D should read approval of a list of accounts payable dated September 18th, 2017, totaling $1,214,548.58. Letter E is approval of the list of licenses dated September 15th, 2017. Letter G will now be known as the Municipal Code of Alsip, Ordinance Number 2017-9-3. Letter H will now be known as Resolution Number 2017-9-R-2. Letter I has been removed. Letter K has been stricken. Letter M has been removed. Letter N has been stricken. And correction to item number S is VFW post number 450, and the conclusion date is September 30th of 2018. Roll call number 1 to accept the consent agenda as presented.
No, we
No,
have a motion.
I need a motion to
I'm sorry.
establish a consent
Motion to
agenda.
establish.
Second.
Second by trustee Pierce.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Roll call number 1 to establish the consent agenda as presented. Trustee McGreal.
Yes.
Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Trustee McGreal.
Yes.
Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll go back to the items that were removed from the consent agenda. The first one was
Aye.
letter I, approval to appoint the Honorable Arthur J. Genera Jr., he's a retired judge, as the Village of Alsip hearing officer. Trustee McGreal, you would remove that?
Yes, I'd like a separate vote after our discussion of last week.
Okay. I need a motion.
Actually, when we make the motion, if we can make sure that we add Basiba as a hearing officer.
Thank you. Good idea.
So I'd make that motion for the approval to appoint the Honorable Arthur Genera Jr. as the Village of Alsip Basiba hearing officer.
Second.
Discussion, Mayor? Discussion?
Sure. Thank you.
Do we need this right now?
Yes, we have a matter pending.
Okay. That's all I need.
Do we have it pending permanently, or is, last week you said possible? It's likely. I'd like to wait till we really need it. If we haven't used them in the past, I don't know why we'd have to use them now.
Excuse me. We do have a motion and a second, and we do have a case that is pending. And please, again, just to conform with I'm brushing up on my own Robert's Rules of Order. We have to address the chair on all these. So we do have a case, and the application hasn't been finished, but yes, there is one pending.
And to the answer, the reasons why we need it now is because our previous board voted to implement this procedure of having a Basiba
But you
hearing.
voted against it, I voted against it, and Trustee Ryan at the time voted against it.
But it passed, and
It passed by the mayor as breaking the vote, Mayor Kitching, and then he never appointed anyone. We never used anyone. So we've never had a hearing officer, so I don't see the need now. When we do, I'd revisit it.
Any comments from anybody?
Just one question. There are no payments to this gentleman unless we actually use his services,
Unless the
correct?
services are needed.
And if the services are needed, and it was mentioned last week also, if the board doesn't agree with it and appeals it, then there'll be payments not only to the hearing officer, but also to the attorneys on both sides of the village and the employee.
And I think procedurally, the proper thing, to go along with what you're saying, is that then we should take a look at revisiting that ordinance, and if you're not in agreement with it, then strike it. But as of right now, it's the rule of the village. There is a pending case that is out there, and we have to facilitate it.
We've had cases before, and they've been resolved without a hearing officer. That's my experience in the 10 years here, so it's just my opinion.
Very good. We had a motion and a second.
We still have discussion there.
Right now, we're at a point to where the affected person is paying for their health insurance bill. Whereas if this hearing wasn't required, then the village would be paying that monthly premium and not this party. So at this point in time, this person's being affected, adversely, incorrectly, whatever, but it is the law of our village right now. And the reason this person is paying it is because we say this ordinance is in effect, a hearing is yet to be held, and until it's held, this individual is responsible for their monthly premiums. So, absolutely. We have a case pending. We have a person paying out of pocket for something that, depending upon what the results of this hearing is going to be out there. So do we keep on kicking the can down the road and adversely affecting one of our people?
Do we have to have a hearing officer to have a hearing?
No.
No? Yes?
We haven't done that in the past.
Yes?
It's in your ordinance.
Yes.
The hearing officer is supposed to look at the documentation submitted to decide if there's a need for an evidentiary hearing. If there's a need for an evidentiary hearing, then he presides over the hearing. The applicant puts on his case as to why he's deserving of the benefit, and I would act as the village's attorney if there's a reason why he shouldn't get the benefit. But there has been an application filed, but it was deficient for information, so I sent it back and said we need a little more information. But it's not going away, it's coming down.
Because, Ken, to my experience, it's been like the village attorney and the employee's attorney, so.
Yes.
It's my understanding, and this predates me, but it's my understanding we have had other PSEBA. It's because of that and some cases that happened, including in Hoffman Estates, that allowed for the option for the previous board to set up a formal PSEBA operation with an ordinance. At that time, it's my belief that a PSEBA hearing officer should have been appointed in case one was ever needed, because when they are, as Trustee Dizelle points out, they are right now paying, they or anybody else would be paying their portion of health insurance until they get their day in court. You shouldn't be holding up their day in court while you decide whether or not a position that you've already created by ordinance needs to be filled. It needs to be filled, so when the person puts in their application, there's no slowing down of that process, and they can get their day in court. And the reason it wasn't done before, you haven't had a PSEBA since this has been put in place. Someone should have been appointed right then and there once the ordinance was done.
It was 3 years ago.
I got it, and there hasn't been an application. Now we know that there is one. As the village attorney said, it was submitted with materials missing. It was told to come back. We know it's coming back because this person is paying for some health insurance that they don't want to be paying for, and that person should have the right when it's submitted. All we should be doing is trying to figure out when it fits into everybody's schedule. We shouldn't be trying to wait till the next board meeting and then whether or not this person still wants to be doing this. We should be ready.
Yeah, we should be ready. It took 3 years, and now we don't have any options. You just give us one candidate, and it's $290 an hour, non-negotiable, with no other candidate. So that's not really ideal either.
And we had that conversation last time.
Yes, we did.
That
last week.
There was a whole bunch of there haven't been that many cases, and you have here somebody who's willing to do it, who has a lot of experience. This is, as Trustee McLaughlin just asked, this isn't something you pay unless they do work. Now, if they do work, it could be a long case. It absolutely could be. When they're talking duty disability, some of these things look like Chicago phone books, as I said last time. But they are very important at that point. You can be looking at $1 million of cost if it's a young person and it's a lot of years for them and their spouse for life. You need it to be done by people with experience. $290 is an expensive rate in general for an attorney, but when you're looking at someone with this level of experience and how many hours you're doing and the cost, if it's not done well, it's money I think you should invest.
Thank you.
I think it should be done on a timely basis.
Trustees, any other questions?
I have one, Mayor. Last week I asked if we had other cases come before us, and I believe you answered yes, there were. Who was the hearing officer we used at that point?
That was the Police Pension Board that oversaw that case, and that was back in 2014, I believe.
So that was before the ordinance?
That was before the ordinance was passed. So we need to respect the ordinance and adhere to that.
So it was the same year the ordinance was passed, and then nobody was ever appointed a hearing officer. And if there was an issue, why did you vote no at that time?
Trustee, that's not for the question. The question is, we are here tonight to decide the approval of the appointment of this particular hearing officer. That ordinance has already been approved. I'm not here to judge an ordinance. Is there any other questions?
So by ordinance, you can't put it back on the police pension board. It has to be a PSEBA officer.
Exactly.
So the only other question I have is this money that this person is paying now, it goes back to the day when they have their court day in court, it goes backwards.
Yeah,
There's reimbursable.
It'll be if there's PSEBA benefits awarded, he'll be given he'll get his benefits back to the day he got his disability pension.
Okay.
But retroactively.
Thank you.
How long has that been going on?
I'm sorry, what?
How long has that been going on,
What?
that he's been paying his own benefits?
Actually, for a while, I don't want to go too much into somebody's specific
Well,
case.
in
because,
general, we need to know.
it's actually very recently that person has been paying. There was a period of time where that person wasn't paying. So this case, in a way, is going to decide one way or another whether that person owes for the tiny bit a period where they weren't paying, or whether or not they won't be paying on that. So that case is going to be helpful either way in terms of resolving what is a question. Okay.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Roll call number 3, approval to appoint Honorable Arthur L. Genora, Jr., retired, as Village of Alsip PSEBA hearing officer. Trustee McGreal.
No.
Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
No.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. Next, we had letter M that was removed from the consent agenda. This was the approval for Kent Olivan, our finance director, to attend 2 seminars from November, we said 14th to the 16th, right?
Actually, they combined these two, so
Right.
this is for the 14th to the 16th, takes into account both
Right.
seminars.
Very good. Okay, at a cost of $235 each, for a grand total of $470 when paid by October 22nd, 2017. Trustee
Plus
McGreal?
travel.
Pardon me?
I just wanted to clarify, plus travel.
Includes travel as well. Trustee McGreal, you had pulled
Mayor,
this?
I wanted an individual vote on this also, because you're also going to IML, and it's a lot of time away from the office, I think. Just a separate vote, please.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please, to approve this?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second.
Roll call number 4, approval for Kent Olivan to attend 2 seminars from November 12th to the 16th, 2017, at a cost of $235 each, for a grand total of $470 when paid by October 22nd, 2017, plus travel. Trustee McGrill.
No.
Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Abstain.
Trustee Zelinski.
No.
Trustee Juarez.
No.
Trustee McLaughlin.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, that's all we had that was removed then. So,
Correct.
Need any unfinished business? No one? Any new business? The closed session is not necessary this evening. We already covered that under regular business, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Adjourn at 8:41 p.m.
We'll adjourn at 8:41. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll do that right here, Tommy.